The convoy jolted violently, dust and debris flying through the air as the first explosion tore through the road. Marwa Khan, translator for the base, was thrown against the side of the Humvee, ears ringing, heart hammering. She wasn't trained for combat. Her world had been one of words, of messages carried between languages, of bridges built through communication, not blood and gunfire. And yet now, surrounded by chaos, she realized survival depended on courage she didn't know she had. She thought she'd never make it out alive. She was wrong. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're re-watching from. I love knowing who's listening. Marwa scrambled for cover, sand and gravel biting into her hands, and saw the convoy strewn with smoke and chaos. Soldiers shouted orders over the roar of engines and gunfire. Through the dust, she spotted an Army Ranger moving like a shadow. Precise, controlled Call Master Sergeant Daniel Reyes. His eyes scanned the terrain. Every muscle coiled, every step measured. Where others panicked, he acted. Where she froze, he guided. Her mind raced. She knew only fragments of tactics, snippets of combat training, mostly from briefings and shadowing. But words couldn't save lives, her actions did. And Daniel was the living embodiment of those actions. He grabbed her arm with steady hands, voice low but urgent. "Stay close. Follow my lead. Keep your head down and keep moving." The heat was unbearable. Dust swirled in blinding sheets, cutting through every line of sight. Explosions echoed down the valley like thunder, and the enemy fire came from every direction, invisible yet unmistakably lethal. Marwa's hands shook not from fear, but from adrenaline, and from the stark realization that survival was now her responsibility as much as Daniel's. Daniel's movements were fluid, almost like a trained predator. Each gesture, each nod, each subtle adjustment of his rifle told a story of experience, instinct, and calm focus. He led the way, darting from cover to cover, dragging Marwa along, while coordinating suppressive fire with the remaining soldiers in the convoy. Every second mattered. Every misstep could mean death. An enemy sniper had taken position on a ridge above. Single shot could cripple the convoy and endanger everyone. Marwa's heart raced as she noticed the glint of sunlight on the enemy's scope. Daniel motioned for her to crouch behind him, guiding her hands, positioning her where she could stay safe, but witness how precision and training turned panic into action. The sounds were overwhelming, gunfire snapping, shouts of warning, metal groaning under the strain of impacts, dust and smoke mixing in the air like a living storm. Yet Daniel remained calm. He was an anchor in chaos. Marwa followed, absorbing every subtle movement, every silent command. She realized that courage wasn't absence of fear, it was action despite fear. The convoy was nearly crippled. One Humvee burned, another immobilized by shrapnel. Soldiers risked exposure to cover their comrades, and the enemy pressed relentlessly. Daniel fired, each shot measured, lethal. Marwa ducked instinctively, heart in her throat, as the sniper above attempted another kill. But Daniel moved, adjusted, and fired again precisely. The sniper went down, leaving the ridge eerily silent except for distant echoes. "Can you do this?" Daniel asked quietly, noticing her gaze locked on the enemy positions. She shook her head, breath ragged. Words weren't enough. Not here. But Daniel's eyes held understanding, not judgment. Survival, he knew, could sometimes be taught in moments of crisis. He kept moving, weaving through the wreckage, shielding her when necessary, guiding her when he could. The convoy began to advance slowly, with Daniel at the lead, Marwa following, the remaining soldiers providing cover. Each obstacle, each threat, became a puzzle to solve. A dust-stung eyes, sweat soaked her uniform, yet she pressed on. Every step was a lesson in courage, every heartbeat a reminder of the stakes. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the convoy reached relative safety, a small ridge offering cover from enemy lines. Marwa sank to her knees, hands trembling, lungs burning. Daniel stood beside her, surveying the scene, ensuring everyone made it out alive. The soldiers murmured thanks, whispers of relief mixing with awe. Marwa realized she wasn't just a translator anymore. She had seen courage in action, and in witnessing it, she found the ability to endure. The enemy had been repelled, the convoy intact, though battered. Marwa's hands were covered in dust and grime, her uniform torn, her heart still pounding, but she survived. And more importantly, she understood what it meant to face chaos with someone guiding you, and to find strength in moments where you believed you had none. Because courage doesn't vanish at waits, and it finds its way back, even in the most unexpected places. She glanced across the road, watching the sun glint off Daniel's rifle and the dust settling on the convoy. A translator, yes, but today, a witness to heroism, a survivor, and a learner of a lesson she would carry forever. The whispers of the soldiers, the echo of gunfire, and the silent respect she felt were proof that bravery isn't always loud, it is precise, deliberate, and sometimes hidden behind a calm voice and steady hands. If this story inspired you, comment where you're watching from and what it made you feel. Subscribe to Whispered Words for more true mission stories where courage emerges. In the most unlikely, heroes and ordinary people become extraordinary.